Welcome to the Elder Law Growth Podcast. Nobody should pass away without a solid plan in place, and everyone should be able to age with dignity. That is why we are on a mission to help elder law and estate planning firms grow their practices online so that they can create a lasting legacy for families everywhere.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Elder Law Growth Podcast. My name is Dan Hafner. I will be your host of this new podcast, and I'm very excited. I want to take a second and thank you very much for joining. Whether you've listened to any of our future episodes or you're just here listening to the very first one, welcome in to this show. Again, my name is Dan Hafner, and I'll be walking you through all of this podcast series. I'm very, very excited. We're going to dive into a couple things here just in the intro episode, more of what this show is, why it exists, and what you can expect from it moving forward. So the very first thing, obviously, are the introductions. My name, again, is Dan Hafner. This podcast, I should say, is brought to you by a company called Bambiz. Now, we work exclusively with elder law and estate planning attorneys inside of the online marketing space. And I hope before you get turned off or before you decide that this show is not for you, I do want to say that the reason why we created this podcast is because we've been working exclusively with elder law and estate planning attorneys inside of the online marketing space for the last 4 years. And we decided that we wanted to make a bigger impact. And that's really what our goal is to help you with, right? Your goal as an estate planning or elder law attorney is to make a bigger impact and help the people of your immediate area age with dignity, right? And leave a lasting legacy for their family and help them untangle the mess that could be potentially left for their loved ones in the case of heading to a nursing home or passing away unexpectedly or whatever the case might be, right? We're going to get more into why your firm exists in future episodes, but ultimately that's what we find is really the biggest goal and overarching goal of those types of firms. And I'm going to get more into how we all started as a company, but that's really our mission inside of this podcast as well. And we're not going to, I promise you, I very solemnly swear and promise, we are not going to sell on this podcast. We're not going to, nothing's going to be markety or pitchy or anything like that. Really what we're trying to do is to give you the tools and tips, right? The tricks of the trade, the whatever you want to call it, the things that we see working, right? Inside of the online marketing space exclusively when it comes to advertising, when it comes to websites, when it comes to SEO, when it comes to LinkedIn, when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to videos or telling an online story, Facebook, Twitter, all of that type of stuff. That's what we're going to be talking about. That's really what the content of this is going to be. And I'll get more into that in a second. But that's really what the show is. So how did we start and why did we start this podcast? So going back 4 years ago, about almost 5 now, our company was founded by a man named Jim Blake. He was actually kind of happened into it. His wife, Andrea, was working for various companies inside of like Elder Council and the Heckerling Institute. And just by association, Jim came to really find that there were a lot of attorneys out there that were very, very good at estate planning and elder law. But all of them, or at least most of them, experienced a common problem. And that was they were just behind the 8 ball and really didn't fully understand or grasp the online marketing space and really understand how to properly and effectively use it to not only grow their firm and their business, but to really communicate their story to their prospective clients, to their area, and to help bring the right clients to them that they could truly help, right? They were good at the law, but they weren't good at getting people in the door, right? So to speak. So, Jim started this business and he started really helping firms inside of giving away, downloadable content to people, hosting workshops, even doing online, webinars and workshops and of that nature, or even doing recorded shows, whether it was a PowerPoint or a presentation that was put on. And through all of these, tactics and methods, things went really, really crazy. And we helped multiple firms all across the country really I don't want to say turn their firms around, but really help them grow and experience success in the real world, in the real terms of their business, by really accelerating and giving care and attention to their online part of their business and their marketing and advertising, right? So that's really how we got started and why we decided to make this podcast. I mean, it seems like everyone has a podcast these days. I mean, I've actually done I've done one other show myself as a podcaster, and Jim had asked me to help, kind of spread our knowledge and our tips and tricks and strategies on this show as well. So I'm very, very excited and honored to do that. So what can you expect from the show? I'm going to talk a little bit for the rest of the 5-10 minutes here about what this is going to be. And like I said earlier, this is not a sales or a marketing, like I'm going to try to sell you stuff type of show, right? The aim of this show is to give actionable, short tips and tricks and actual implementable strategies that you as an elder law or estate planning attorney can listen to, whether you're driving on your way to work or you're out for a run or a walk or whatever the case might be, and actually take these episodes and this content and bring it back into your practice and actually implement these things, right? Maybe you've been kicking around the idea of posting more on your Facebook page or bringing up a YouTube channel or doing more LinkedIn, having a more LinkedIn presence or upgrading your website or whatever the case might be, right? We're going to talk about all those types of topics, and we're going to do it through various, methods and methodologies. I want to say. So the bulk of the show is going to be me talking to you just like this in short 10 to 15, maybe 20-minute episodes, trying to keep, this isn't going to be like an hour-long podcast, right? So these are short, consumable, and actionable steps. We're going to actually give, the 4 steps to making your website work, or the 3 tricks to Facebook advertising, or things like that, right? That you can actually take and implement moving forward. Because that was actually one thing that changed my life forever, is when I realized you can consume all the content you want in the world, but if you don't actually take action, it's not worth anything, right? So that's really the mission of this podcast, is to get you to take action and to do these things and to implement these things and see the results from them 2 to 3 to 6 months down the road that are really going to impact the bottom line of your business, right? So just some logistic things in terms of frequency of the show. We aim to give at least 1 episode a week. We might do a bonus one at the end of the week because I do have several great interviews lined up for you guys. So we're going to talk to some really, really successful and very bright and up and coming elder law and estate planning attorneys, some that are our clients of ours, others that have requested to be on the show. And we're going to talk to them about specific topics, right? Whether they're crushing the game inside of SEO content or inside of their website or inside of an advertising or marketing campaign. And we're actually going to pick their brains and ask them, what are you doing that is working? Why does it work? And how does it really affect your business as a whole? Right. So I'm really, really excited for those. I think those are going to be super beneficial. Those will be a little bit longer, obviously. We'll try to keep it to, half hour, 35 minutes or so. Those interviews are going to be really, really cool. And I think one of the other pieces that we're going to talk a lot about on those interviews are going to be some of the trends, right? Some of the trends and new happenings and the things that we see working or not working inside of the elder law and estate planning world. Now, I know this is different because you might be listening to this in certain different states, and we're not going to talk about like the legal things inside of each state, right? Every state can pass different laws or different things. Now, we might talk about things on a national level, right? If there's big changes that come that affect hey, you should be doing this, or this is really what's going on. But, the bigger things are, hey, this strategy is really working on Facebook right now, or hey, this strategy is really working on YouTube right now, or hey, this strategy inside of a website design is really, really getting results and is shown to work inside of these particular firms, right? So those are more of the trends that we're going to talk about and identify and let you know about. And we're going to try to keep this podcast and all of this content as relevant and as actionable for you as possible. We might even have some very cool downloadable content for you to go along with some of these episodes. So I'm very, very excited for that, in terms of like checklists or actionable items or whatever the case might be. So I'm very, very excited. And that is about all I have for this episode. So as I told you, only be about 9-10 minutes or so, and then we'll be on to the next one. So this episode or this podcast will be available wherever you listen to podcasts. So whether you listen on Spotify or Apple or Google Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, this will be available. So please subscribe to the show. We always appreciate reviews if you do enjoy the content or you like a certain episode or whatever the case might be. We always appreciate any shares and reviews and anything like that wherever you listen. So that is much appreciated as well. So this has been the inaugural episode of the Elder Law Growth Podcast. My name is Dan Hafner, and we will talk to you next time.